Such a short turnaround time, you don't know what to do with your team, what transfers to make, which is the best captaincy option for your team. Watch this video till the end to find answers to all those questions. Now in this video guys, we're going to talk about some of the most popular dilemmas that a lot of FPL managers like you have this week, and we have to start with what to do with Mo Salah guys. A lot of FPL managers have already lost faith in the king of FPL, and of course there's a conversation to be had here, but short answer guys, you should not sell Salah this week. He was very unlucky not to get anything against Bournemouth guys. Liverpool scored 9 goals. I think it's very difficult to imagine Salah not getting anything from that game, but I think his numbers were really good. He was one of the most involved players from the Liverpool team, and I think he was definitely unlucky not to get any returns. I don't think so that's gonna happen week on week guys. Yes, you can argue the case that, let's say if Harvey Elliott plays in the team, Salah tends to stay a bit wide, and that might continue. So whether that really affects his attacking potential, his attacking returns, we have to see that for a consistent run of games to come to that conclusion. But yeah, he will kind of stay wide. There could be a chance where he's probably not as involved as we've seen him in the past. But still guys, it's Mo Salah. It's one of the most elitist FPL picks of all time. And I think it's a very risky move to not go with Salah. I mean, you don't really have a lot of like-to-like replacements. Yes, you can go for a KDB, but with Pep, we don't know what is that rotation scheme, how much KDB is going to play, especially with midweek fixtures and especially with Champions League also kicking in guys. There's also Son, but he's not looked that great. You can of course downgrade to a Sterling, but you can't really depend on a Sterling or even a Chelsea who don't really score a lot of goals. Yes, they do create chances, but they don't really collate a lot of XG guys. So I'm not very sure of selling Salah. I don't think so it's the right move. Yes, you can distribute the funds, you can probably go for a much more balanced squad, but I just feel Salah with that ownership guys, that's also one of the slightly defensive reasons to hold Salah. But again, if Salah does really well and if you don't have him in your team, I think the rank loss could be massive guys. I don't think so we should lose the patience just yet. Yes, if this continues maybe for a couple of more weeks, if we don't see the performances that we expect from Salah, we can have that conversation again guys, but right now I don't think so you should sell it. Now coming to the next question, is it worth saving a transfer in Game Week 5? Now, Game Week 5 has come very early because it's a midweek game week and a lot of teams are looking quite solid. A lot of managers are quite happy. So if you have an additional transfer, let's say if you have 2 transfers and if you don't want to burn it, I can understand that resistance guys. I can understand that irk or that itch to kind of make that transfer or make any move to better your FPL team. And if you can do that guys, I think you should probably just use that one transfer. But again, if you don't have anything else to do, if your team is absolutely fine, I think it's okay burning that transfer as well. Now if you just have one free transfer, I think if there are no ultimate or immediate fires to put out guys, I think you can easily save that transfer. I mean, I don't really see a lot of high upside picks. Let's say if you have the likes of Madison, Zinchenko, even Zaha for that matter, maybe a combination of 2 of them, etc. There are chances that all 3 might not start this game week, and you can of course replace them. If you have a luxury transfer, maybe go from a Saka to a Martinelli, that's also a move. Maybe if you have someone like a Ward or an Iverson guys and you want to change your keeper, then I think it's worth making those moves. But I don't really see very high upside moves this week guys. I don't think so there are a lot of players that you can possibly target who can give you massive hauls. Yes, you can still argue a case for a Man City mid, let's say like a Gundogan for example. And if you have somebody like a Madison, maybe some player in that sort of a range, you can make that transfer, but it's still a high risk move. Yes, Gundogan is expected to start this week, but with Pep, as I mentioned earlier, we really don't know what's going to happen there. But yeah, I mean, if no immediate fires, it's I think very valuable to save a transfer. We'll get some idea about rotation, about which players are playing midweek so early since the last game week. And then we also have the next game week in a couple of days. So we'll get some more idea, we'll get some more information, and for that value guys, I think it's worth saving a free transfer this week. Now coming to the next question, and a lot of people are asking this, who are the best Man City options to go for in Game Week 5 guys? Now if you have Haaland guys, I think it's absolutely worth holding him. I don't think so you should transfer him out for a Kane. We know that Conte has also said that Kane can get rested in a few games, maybe in a midweek game for that matter. Yes, it's against West Ham, so it's not going to be easy, and I don't think so Kane is going to get rested for this week. But I still feel the transfer is not worth doing guys. I think having Haaland still is a great option to go for. If you don't have him in your team, if you have someone like a Kane, I'll probably not make that switch. But I think Haaland is the best possible attacker to go for in that Man City lineup, guys. I don't think so KDB is a priority transfer this week, guys. Let's say, for example, if you have somebody like a Son and you are looking for a replacement, the exact same replacement, I think in that case KDB makes a lot more sense. But we expect Pep to rotate. We expect certain players like a KDB, like a Haaland, for example, to have limited minutes this week, considering it's a midweek fixture and there's a fixture again in 2 days. Then there's also Champions League coming next week midweek. So there are chances that KDB might not play, but I think he's still a great option to go for, possibly the second best option to go for or to have at least in this week in Game Week 5, but he's not a priority transfer in. So if you don't have him in, I don't think so you should shake all your team. You should probably, go out of the way to get in KDB, but he's still a good option. If you're looking for a slightly cheaper option in midfield, I think Gundogan is somebody that you can take a risk on. He didn't start the last game against Palace, and there are high expectations, at least in the FPL community, that he will start this game. So going by that logic, guys, I think you can definitely keep an eye on him in terms of minutes, because he will, I think, start the game. We know that he has goal threat. We know that he can score goals, and he was almost playing like a second striker. Even when Haaland was substituted, he was in that striker position, guys, which was very, very interesting. So I think Pep sees him in that sort of a very high attacking role, and I think you can absolutely target him with the likes of Foden, Silva, Mahrez, and even Grealish. I know Grealish is probably not going to feature, but with these sort of picks, it's very difficult to predict and understand when they're going to haul or how much goal involvement will they have week on week. Because one week it might be Foden giving you 10-12 points and getting a couple of attacking returns. The other week that mantle might shift to a Bernardo Silva. And then, possibly a Mahrez can surprise us all by coming from the bench or maybe even starting and getting those 15-20 point hauls. So that's a bit trickier to call. I think Gundogan is probably the slightest or the slightly more nailed option, as well as, let's say, for example, we can predict his attacking returns as well. We know that he gives us goal threat and he can make those runs, score those goals. So I think Gundogan probably will be my third best attacker or the third best option. Cancelo, again, I don't think so he's worth selling. I don't even think he's worth buying. Let's say if you've not got him in your team, if you just have Walker in your team as a Man City defense option, I think it's absolutely fine, guys. It at least is covering the Man City clean sheet. I think you should be good to go there. I don't think so he's a priority transfer in, but I also don't think so he's a priority transfer out. So you probably should not even sell him. I think there's value in Cancelo still. If you feel that Man City are not keeping enough clean sheets and Cancelo is also not giving us any attacking threat or attacking returns, I think then we can have that conversation, probably sell him. But right now, I don't think so he's a sell, or you should probably panic and then sell him from your team. I think he's fine. Having Walker, again, you don't have to transfer him in, not a priority transfer, but if you have him, just hold him. I think attackers are definitely the best options to go for. I'll still say Haaland is the first one. Then probably Gundogan, guys, just because he's a lot cheaper, he's a lot more accessible than a KDB. Then you probably could say anyone between a Cancelo and a Walker. I think these are the best options to go for. I still don't feel that players like Silva and Foden, I think it's not that easy to predict their returns. I mean, they can still do really, really well in Game Week 5. Don't get me wrong there. But it's just very difficult to predict that, guys. So I think these are the options to go for. But again, there's a lot of risk involved, and all the best for that Pep roulette, guys. Now, coming to the next question, a lot of people are asking this week is that which premium defenders are worth holding on to, guys. I think we can segregate them into different teams. Now, starting with the most premium combination, we have Trent and Robertson. I think Trent is a pretty much easy hold, guys. I think his attacking play has been decent. Yes, Liverpool haven't really kept a lot of clean sheets, but we know that he can really get you a lot of attacking threat, a lot of attacking returns, a good score, a good FPL score, as we saw against Bournemouth, guys. And I think that feat can be repeated multiple times across the season. So I think he's a definite hold. Robertson is an interesting one, guys. I think if you want to make certain upgrades in midfield, let's say if you want to go Robertson to Diaz, for example, if you are looking at a third Liverpool player and maybe a second Liverpool attacker, considering that you have Salah, I think that switch is pretty much worth it. I don't think so it's worth a hit this week because the fixture is decent. I mean, Liverpool can keep a clean sheet, but Robertson has been getting subbed off, guys, and there is a chance that he may get rotated this week, guys. I mean, Tsimikas is an able replacement. We've already seen that, and Robertson has just not looked up for that, guys. I mean, there is a slight change in his movement, in his play, in how Klopp is operating with Robertson, and I think a lot of the play is going through Diaz and Trent, and I think that is why that combination is a lot more favored than a Robertson, for example. And I think Robertson's definitely worth selling if you can make certain upgrades. Let's say if you can get to a Tony, for example, if you maybe want a Diaz, maybe if you want to upgrade your midfield picks, maybe you don't want to stay with those 4.55 million options and you're looking at a slightly larger or slightly more expensive price bracket, I think Robertson is a sell. I don't think so we should sell James just yet. I know there are murmurs that he might get benched for Azpilicueta this week and he might not start. I mean, that can absolutely happen. But even if he comes from the bench, guys, then for a sustained amount of period, I don't think so he is going to get benched. I mean, he will start most games. Yes, when he plays as a right wing back, the attacking potential is a lot higher. There are high chances of him scoring a goal or getting an assist, which we won't get when he's playing a right centre back. But he's still worth a hold, guys. I think Cucurella this week as well is worth a hold. Yes, there are chances that he might also get rotated with Chilwell, but I think it's important to get that understanding, see that for yourself, and then probably make that decision next week. I think it's worth holding on to both Chelsea options. Robertson, as I said earlier, is a sell. I already mentioned that Cancelo is definitely not a sell. Walker is also not a sell. I think they're all worth holding this week. Now, the interesting option comes in Perisic, guys. And this is where a lot of people would have divided opinions, guys, because a lot of people might be thinking of selling him for a cheaper option. Let's say like an Arsenal defender, for example, Saliba, maybe even a Brighton defender, as a lot of people are already talking about. Maybe a Dunk, for example, or even a Veltman if he's fine to play. So there are options there, but I still feel Perisic, I mean, yes, he did get substituted, but he did end up playing 75 minutes. And there are chances that he might not play this week. Champions League is also coming, and I definitely feel that he would be preferred for those Champions League games. So there is a chance that he might get reduced minutes, but he's definitely the most important player in that defense for Tottenham, guys. I mean, the quality that he has is way above than, let's say, a Sessegnon or Emerson Royal or any other defender that they have right now. So I think he is definitely going to play more minutes, but I don't think so it's going to be, of course, more than 70-75 minutes. Maybe he plays about 60 odd minutes as well when they have a lot of fixture congestion. I still don't feel it's worth selling this week. I mean, there are not really any great options to go for. You can go safer, but I still feel the upside with Perisic is massive, guys, and the attacking potential that he gives you is unparalleled in that price point. So I think he's a great option to retain. And out of all these premium defenders, guys, I think Robertson is the only one that I'll probably make a case for selling this week. Now, coming to the final dilemma or the final question that a lot of people have this week is that who to captain in Game Week 5, guys. If you're going safe, if you don't want to take a lot of risk, a lot of chances, I think Salah is the option to go for. The fixture is, yes, could be a bit trickier. I know a lot of people would say that Newcastle are a much improved team, but they are conceding chances, guys. They can get open at the back, as we saw against Man City. So there is potential for a Salah haul here. Salah, as I said earlier, was very unlucky not to get anything in that Bournemouth game, and I don't think so that's going to happen week on week. So I think he's a great option to go for, probably the safest option to go for. If you don't, or if you feel that you're not satisfied with the Salah performance last week, and you probably think it would be a bit risky, then you probably should go for Haaland. Now with Haaland, the advantage is that, guys, you are getting a great fixture in Nottingham Forest. We've already seen that Forest are quite open at the back. I think a lot of the ball would again remain with Man City, so that might be a different perspective in terms of how Forest was playing with Tottenham. So there might be a slight difference. They might hold back a little bit, but I don't think so that's probably going to happen. I think there's huge potential, huge haul potential for a Haaland, guys. Even if he comes off the bench, maybe, let's say, for example, he plays about 25-30 minutes. Maybe he starts the game and he plays about 60 to 70 minutes. There's still a potential hat trick in there for Haaland, guys. So it's a slightly risky move because we don't know Pep. I mean, Pep has already mentioned that when the midweek fixtures start, Alvarez is definitely going to play in that striker position for Man City. Now, whether that happens or not, we still have to see it. But I think there is potential for a Haaland rest here. So it's a bit risky. But again, if you want to go against the template, if you want to go a bit different from what other people or the masses are doing, I think Haaland is a great option to go for. If you don't have Haaland, for example, or if you feel that Haaland could be a lot riskier, then let's say if you have somebody like KDB, I think KDB is then the best option to go for, guys. I think he'll probably get more minutes than a Haaland. But again, we're talking about Pep at the end of the day and anything can happen. But I think KDB is a slightly safer option than Haaland. He might not have the same goal threat as a Haaland, for example, because Haaland tends to get a lot of those big chances, which KDB would probably create for somebody like a Haaland or an Alvarez or somebody else in that Man City attacking team, guys. So there is slightly less goal threat, but we are getting a lot of creativity from Kevin De Bruyne. And yes, we know that he can score those goals as well. So it's slightly less riskier, but again, with slightly less attacking upside there. Now, in case if you don't trust the Liverpool players or the Man City players, you can even go for Gabriel Jesus. I think he's playing Aston Villa. I think it's going to be a good game for Arsenal. Arsenal are a great attacking unit at the moment. Villa are not defending that well. Villa aren't really playing that great either. So there are chances that, Gabriel Jesus can really score big this week. He was a bit unlucky not to get anything in the last game, but I think there is definite haul potential. We've seen that he can get those big hauls. We've seen that he can score goals, he can create chances. So if you want to take a slightly different route, I think Gabriel Jesus is the option to go for. Now, in case if you want to go very risky or very differential, I think differential is the right word, probably, maybe not risky, but I think Harry Kane is also a great option to go for. He's the informed pick. He might not have the best fixture because it's West Ham away. I think that's going to be a tricky one. But I think he's the informed pick to go for. If you're looking for a striker or captaining a Tottenham attacker, I think it's Harry Kane, guys. He has been looking really, really good. And I think there are chances that, he can still score against West Ham. West Ham have become slightly tighter, but they're still not a very tight defense. I mean, they have a lot of new players. So they are kind of going to take some time to settle in and gel those players in. So there are chances that Harry Kane in that sort of form can really do well against West Ham. So I think in the order of preference, my preference would still be Mo Salah, guys. Then it would probably be one of KDB or Haaland. Then I think Gabriel Jesus, and then probably at the end would be Harry Kane. So do let me know what you're thinking about your captaincy options. Who are you captaining for Game Week 5? Do let me know in the comments below. So that'll be all from my side for this video, guys. I hope you liked our last minute tips video. We were able to break down some dilemmas, and I really, really hope that they help you. Now we'll be back for the deadline stream in a couple of hours, depending on when you are seeing this video. So do join us for that, for any last minute transfer queries, any captaincy issues, or anything that you want to discuss. Thank you so much for watching. Hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in Saners next time.